This is the Surly Grognards for November 20th, 2018. This is Peter Bowman, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Eric Carlson. How are you doing tonight, Eric?
I'm doing all right.
Excellent. So, we don't have a particular topic for tonight. Um, I would
Yeah,
have.
we're bad at this.
Yeah, we are. I don't even didn't even have notions for tonight. I've been very busy doing stuff. Yeah, and I just spaced out, honestly. Um,
I kind of realized last night, or Sunday night, I was like, oh crap, I need to prep for my meat space game, and that's what I did, and spaced that I needed to prep for this too.
yeah,
So
don't worry. I'm sure. Like, I've got a couple of ideas rattling in my head. Things about I want to talk about, but I think the first thing we should probably like. Normally we'd go into what we've been up to, but not much has been different for since last week.
yeah, I've been doodling around with the works and played another game with them on Sunday.
Cool.
So
They're still going well for you.
they're still going well. Yes, they're going very well. Especially once I decided that see a fortification, avoid fortification, kill everything outside of the fortification. Congratulations, win the game. So
Yeah. Um.
yeah, just gotta remember I'm playing mechanized Mongol Viking barbarian fungus. So don't try to attack a fortification.
Yeah, that seems like a probably good idea, given that you're not, you're not playing an art like you're playing Speed Freaks, dude.
Yeah, everyone's on bikes or in buggies or in the back of a truck, and they only jump out of the truck when they have someone to crump. So
Like the whole point of your army is mobility and moving around. Directly attacking a fortification seems counterintuitive.
yeah,
Mind you, I get why you did it the previous time.
can I do this? No, no, I can't. Also, honestly, I was just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think it was on purpose. No, I was having fun.
Yeah. Whee! I've not been doing much. I've been playing. Still been goofing around in Warframe. Been playing some Fallout 4.
Cool.
Basically, and this is actually one of the things I did kind of want to touch on. I've been watching a few people streaming Fallout 76.
Mm.
Um, and that got me wanting to play Fallout 4. Uh, or play one of the Fallout games. I own, both. I own three. I mean, I own all of them except the Xbox one, which is complete garbage.
Right.
The Brother to Steel one on the Xbox. Oh boy, that one's not even considered canon. I mean, that's how bad it is. Oh, Fallout 3 is not good. I've played New Vegas so much that my problem with my problem with modern Fallout right now is I want a Fallout game that has sort of like the good parts of Fallout 4, which is like the modding system, the weapon modding system, which is great.
Yep.
Some of the nice tweaks to the UI, some of the nice tweaks to the way the game actually actively plays.
Mm.
Because there are a few that are actually the game feels better in some ways than New Vegas. And then with the writing of New Vegas as opposed to the writing of 4.
Yeah, the writing is not the best part about 4. We'll be honest here.
Yeah, and maybe a refined settlement building system because it could use some refining.
It could use some refining. It could definitely do some tweaking there.
I mean, I know we've talked about it in the podcast before. My lament about 76 and that not 76 Fallout 4, and that the whole settlement thing feels so ancillary to the rest of the game.
Mm.
And like there's so many implications that sort of one of the ongoing major themes of the game is rebuilding the Commonwealth, which you sort of do and then not really.
Yeah.
Like the whole getting your kid back is a great seed to get you out of the vault and into the Commonwealth and to start interacting with it. But from there, the story feels like it really shouldn't be so laser focused on your kid, and that it really feels like it should be about rebuilding the Commonwealth to me.
Mm.
Like they had an opportunity to actually make a game, make a game about how you want to rebuild society as an RPG, and that would have been fucking awesome.
Yes. No,
And
I agree. And while I enjoy the settlement system, mostly I just enjoy building giant ramshackle castles to fill up with power armor. But
yeah,
um but yeah, no, I will admit that the settlement system needs a lot of work. And yes, thematically making it about like rebuilding basically a nation, and making and choosing which direction it goes in, how you're going to handle things, and doing it entirely from the ground up, because guess what, there's no infrastructure, it all got blown up.
yeah. I mean, and honestly, like it'd be nice if there was an option. Like as much as I would probably never do it, but an option to go full raider.
There is in the Nuka-Cola
Yeah, but that
expansion.
comes so late.
Yeah, and at that point you do the Nuka-Cola stuff, and suddenly you're
Tearing down all the
well,
stuff you've been building.
tear down everything you just built up. But I built this. I made this.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Why am I blowing up my stuff?
Like, it's so Bethesda. There's some really good ideas in 4. And I will say, from what I've seen of 76, that's true there. There's some good ideas in 76. And some really bad ones.
Yeah, like
Oh, my God.
I saw my first thought when I saw 76, oh, this could be really cool. It could be like a Fallout MMO. That would be really cool. It is not a Fallout MMO.
No, it's a sandbox survival game.
Yeah,
and there are a bunch of those out there.
Yeah. I mean, as to my knowledge, it's the only one with power armor. But
damned if I know. It probably is.
I mean, it's not my bag for a genre, so
yeah. No, I enjoyed playing 7 Days to Die, but yeah, I don't know.
My opinion on 7 Days to Die, and it's largely the same for that entire genre, which is okay, cool. You do you. I'm gonna go play a game where I get to do stuff.
Yeah, it's.
I'm gonna go play a game where I'm not actively fighting things to enjoy the game, where the act of fighting things is fun.
Right. Yeah. I will say so. But from what I've seen of 76, it's got some good ideas. It's got some not so good ideas. It's got some serious technical issues.
Yep. Oh, Bethesda.
Yeah, but they're sort of compounded by the fact that it's taking the creation engine, which is the Gamebryo engine with some bells and whistles added.
Yeah.
And then trying to shoehorn in multiplayer on top of it.
Yeah.
But I will also say, for people who do like the survival genre and like the Fallout setting, it's not bad for that. It's just not good either. I have seen several people who really, really like the game.
Cool. Good for them. Awesome.
But it's not an RPG.
There is no wrong fun except for the fun I don't enjoy.
Right.
So you're wrong. But
yeah, like I totally get why people don't like it. Like I totally get why people really don't like it. Like I wouldn't like it. It's a game I would not enjoy. I knew, but as I said, I've seen several people streaming who really like it.
Well, the lack of NPCs is what really bugs me, because half the fun of Fallout, of any Fallout game, is discovering like what tucked in settlement that is over this hill, and are they hostile? What's their lunatic bag? Because all settlements are fundamentally insane.
Yeah, no, I agree. It doesn't like that removing the NPCs from a Fallout game feels like it's a disservice to the setting.
Yes, absolutely.
As I said, but again, like I also think picking through like the ruins of settlements and such, like I've seen this. I watch people playing, and there are hosts of like notes and holotapes and computer terminals filled with like information about what happened and what's happened and why everyone's gone now.
And that's really cool. Like, that was some of the best part about 4 was like the
Yep.
like the one school with the principal that was drugging all the kids with intelligence enhancers,
Mm-hmm.
so that he could pocket the additional funds that got sent his way for performing well, and getting caught by and getting blackmailed by his student co-conspirator who was getting high off his own supply, who was now smarter than everyone else in the room.
There's lots of good stuff like that, and I think that I get again. I like there's a lot of that in Fallout. I have no actual issue with that. Um, but given the respawn rates of enemies and such from what I've seen, I can definitely see why it'd be kind of frustrating to start like trying to read a note or listen to a holotape, and then a bunch of Scorch show up and start trying to shoot you.
Right.
It's like what?
Dude, I'm reading here.
Yeah, like it. I conceptually I get what Bethesda was trying to do, and I don't think I think it does a disservice to the setting, personally. But again, I get why there are people who do enjoy it. Like I really do.
Mm.
I just also God, it's a mess. And there's some design decisions they made that are just baffling. Like
Hello?
there's no push to
There you
talk
go.
option for the in-game mic.
Oh no.
Which isn't a huge problem unless you're a streamer.
Yeah.
So you can't have the mic on in game to interact with people and talk to your chat without Oh man, it's a tech and there it's a technical mess. There's a lot of stupid stuff. Lot of just technical issues that like the VAT system doesn't work anywhere near the way it used to because it's online, so they can't
So
pause
yeah,
the
so it has to
game
be.
or slow time down for you. So it's just sort of an auto aim system now, which fine.
Well, why not just drop VATS entirely at that point?
But how would it be a Fallout game without VATS, Eric? No, honestly,
Was it a Fallout game without settlements filled with crazy lunatics?
You're not wrong. I'm just saying, that's the reason they kept it, as far as I can tell. Like they honestly just dropped it.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like what? Or gave it a complete rethought or something. I don't know. It's a flawed game. I don't think it's quite as bad as some people are making it. Well, I will say that it's the PC version, which is the version I've seen people playing, is light years better from what I understand than the console versions.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
And it's a lot more stable because the PCs people are playing on are vastly more robust machines generally than a console is. So
yeah, and Bethesda's always been better at their PC support than their console support.
Their support, yes. But at any rate, 76 is again. I don't think it's as bad as some people are making it out to be, but it's not good. Or at least it's definitely not my cup of tea.
Right.
It's not my Nuka-Cola. Ugh. Yeah, they've had multiple 50 gigabyte patches so far. I can't talk all of a
sudden. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That indicates some issues there.
Oh yeah. At any rate, I mean, neither of us have played it, so we can't go into too much detail.
Yeah,
I can only give you my impressions from what I've seen of it.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason why I can't give it too negative a review, because I haven't played it, so I'm not gonna like me saying it's the worst game ever is like really dumb because I've not played it, so I can only form my opinions of what I've seen.
Yeah.
There are
Plus the
people.
fact that,
Yep.
yeah, I haven't played it, and all the information I have, or even watched anyone play, so all my information is regurgitated from what I've read or seen online.
Yep.
So,
So yeah, those multiple giant patches. Dear God, poor people. People with data caps.
yeah.
Gah. Hog. Ugh. At any rate, but yeah, so they didn't have an FOV slider built into the game because no Fallout game has had one, so they still don't have an FOV slider built into it.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm
Well,
just yeah.
that's a shame.
Yeah, I'm it. I will also say this: from watching it, it is almost exactly what I expected it to be when I heard it announced.
I had hopes, but yeah, hopes.
Um, I was like, oh, a Fallout survival game multiplayer. Well, that's gonna be something I'm not gonna want to play. Yeah, I was right.
See, I got the impression it was going to be like an MMO type of deal, but
Oh
with like
God,
smaller
no.
server sizes. And I was like, no, this is what I'm looking for. Thanks, guys. That's not what I'm looking for.
So yeah, yeah, I don't know. 76 is it's yeah. It really feels like it's sort of just a placeholder and something that's sort of a it I don't think it's really intended this way, but it feels like it's sort of becoming sort of a placeholder until they get the next Fallout 5 and Elder Scrolls 6 out.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels like a placeholder for at least Elder Scrolls 6. I haven't heard anything about Fallout 5 though.
They're apparently working on one or talking about working on one. I don't know the full details.
Right.
My hopes are not high for the next Fallout game. There are things I like about 4, but they could. Anyways, they just need they need to get better they need to get better writers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Duwani brings up there are big flying monsters in the game in 76 called Scorch Beasts.
Are they dragons?
They basically use the Skyrim dragons, flight models, attack patterns.
I'm not gonna lie, that is kind of cool. I kind of like the idea of post-apocalyptic dragons. I mean, I'm an unabashed fan of Reign of Fire.
They're not actually dragons, though. I mean, they wouldn't be. It's Fallout. They're giant mutated bats.
Fire-breathing bats.
Radiation breathing, but yes.
Oh, okay.
Again, Fallout. Of course, it's radiation attacks.
Yeah, of course it's radiation attacks.
Like I've watched it. I was like, but it's the exact same skeletal mesh. And the flight patterns, the way they fly in, hover, attack with range attacks, occasionally come land on the ground with the same exact sound that dragons make when they land in Skyrim.
Holy shit! They managed to release Skyrim again, but in Fallout.
Basically, except you're not a dragonborn, so you don't have any shouts.
No, but I do have a chain gun.
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
That's the other thing that's a little weird about the game is it's so not what you're used to in Fallout, where you find a weapon you can use it immediately, because there are weapons that are level locked.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't use this weapon until you're level 25.
That's not very Fallout. That's not very Cash Money of you.
But yeah, there's no dragon wren shout that you can knock the fucking Scorch Beast out of the air with.
that'd
But
be
you
a
do have a
really
lot
cool
more ranged
attachment.
weapons. You do have more ranged weapons, though. So
Yeah, I was just thinking that would be a really cool like weapon or armor attachment. It's just like you fire chains or a net gun or something to force it to the ground.
oh god, that'd be brilliant. Sadly, there's
Yeah,
no way they would have thought of that.
I'm suddenly seeing like this giant like like, they have harpoon guns. They're from in Far Harbor. Get one of those big ass heavy harpoon guns. Only it's got a chain winch on it, and it's awesome.
That would involve some actual new coding, though.
Oh, you could use it to pull people towards you so you can hit them with your super sledge. I that sounds amazing.
It's
Why isn't this a thing?
because it's not a thing. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so I don't think there's much else we can really say about it because we haven't played it, other than like
Right.
speculation and things like, "Ooh, they could have done this," and it's like that's not helpful. I basically my gut feeling is I wouldn't recommend it, but or at least not to most people. And from everything I've read, I would not recommend it if you're a console gamer.
Yeah.
No. Bardic, why they don't hire us too? Because they already have more interested in their version of Fallout than any other Bethesda's offerings. Because neither of us are actually writers.
Yeah, I am not so arrogant to think that I am better than a professional at this thing.
Like as much as I can critique writing, I don't. I am not certain I could do a better job writing Fallout than Bethesda's done.
Yeah.
Like writing that big a story for a like again, I know what I would do conceptually. But I don't know. As I said, I would want to structure like Fallout 4. I would want to structure it around like the once I knew about the settlement building thing, I was like, dear God, and the Minutemen and the railroad, like rebuilding the Commonwealth and
Yeah, and making
coming up
raiders
with
a viable option earlier on.
and absolutely,
And being able to forge different
alliances.
different alliances, but
And-
like depending on which one you choose to back first determines who you can align with.
And things about what sort of government are you going to plan on ending up going with? Like seriously, like just look at like you can ignore like complicated shit. Just look at how Obsidian set up the story of New Vegas
Yep.
with the interacting factions and who gets to take over New Vegas.
Me, Cannibal King of the Mojave,
Right.
obviously.
But there are other options. There are 3 other options that you can do other than you being the one taking over.
Yeah, I mean, you could leave House in charge. You could give it to the NCR, which seems like the good guy option, but the NCR is kind of crumbling under its own weight because it can't maintain its own infrastructure.
Right.
And then there's Caesar's Legion, which is going to collapse into infighting and lunacy just as soon as Caesar dies, which will probably be about 6 months because he's got space cancer. I forget why I remember him being sick.
He's dying of something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know. But again, I think that like it's very clear that Bethesda sort of tried to say, yeah, okay, the multiple faction thing, we can put that in Fallout 4, and they really didn't get exactly how it was set up in New Vegas. They really didn't. Either they didn't care, which they had something else.
I think it's to their credit, I think they were more interested in all the side quests and other crazy stuff that you could do in Fallout.
Oh yeah, totally. They don't
like any other like Bethesda game player. They got distracted by side quests and forgot about the main plot.
But there's a reason you get distracted by the side quests in Bethesda's games because the main story is not very compelling usually. Not since fucking Morrowind.
Yeah.
Even
in Morrowind, I got distracted off the main plot for most of my playthrough.
Fair, but again, like the main story of Morrowind's actually interesting.
Yep. I don't remember it terribly well, honestly.
It's been a while, but I remember it being actually compelling. So, yeah, Guilty Five also points out. Yeah, the other cool thing about New Vegas is you're not just another person blindly wandering from their vault. It's God, that opening the opening hook of New Vegas is so good.
gonna find that motherfucker that shot me in the head.
It's so good.
It's a really good opening hook. I can, yeah. I'd also like the option to play as a ghoul in a Fallout game.
It'd be interesting.
Like, I don't see it being particularly busted. Like, the big advantage ghouls have is immortality, but that doesn't matter.
You don't die from age, and you're
Yeah,
mostly immune to radiation.
and you're immune to radiation, but you have other issues like you're not looked as favorably as
Yeah,
by smooth skins, and you really don't want to go cannibal as a ghoul.
you're probably not. I mean, yeah, that's sort of saying goodbye to anybody who's at all like not awful siding with you
Yeah.
ever. You're both a ghoul and a cannibal. I see. All right, everyone shoot him in the head.
Screw you guys. I'm going to hang out with those super mutants. They'll like me.
No, they
No,
won't.
they don't like me.
No, they won't.
No, they won't.
Oh my god. But yeah, no, like, oh my god, Fallout 4 is so frustrating for me because there are so many good ideas in it that are just not executed well or just dropped. And then there's most of the side quests are decent, but then there are a few that are good but don't feel Fallout-y. And,
Yeah.
But then they've got the companions, almost all of whom are actually interesting.
Yep.
Like for like the first time ever with Bethesda.
No, there really wasn't a companion I didn't enjoy hanging out with. Except for what's his fuck, the merc.
I'm not a big fan of either Preston or McCready.
Yeah, okay, Preston. Yeah.
Preston's not terrible, but he as a companion, but God,
he's a little bland.
Yeah.
God, he's a little bland compared to the others. What were you saying?
Preston is frustrating with the whole sort of, another settlement needs your help. It's like, oh God, Preston, shut up.
It's like, yeah. I appreciate what you're doing, dude. I like having extra things to do on occasion when I'm passing through, but let's dial that back a bit, man.
Yeah.
There are other people besides just me in the Minutemen.
Honestly, like after a certain point, like he should stop just giving you Radiant quests. You'd have to approach him for them. I would say.
Yeah.
Like if you want them and approach him for them, sure, that's great. But like Kate's great. Piper's fantastic. Nick is amazing.
Yeah, Nick's great.
Curie's great.
love
Hancock's
Curie.
really cool.
Yep, Cogsworth is great.
Cogsworth is great. I'm not a big fan of Strong, but I get why you are.
He's just so pleasantly uncomplicated. Can we break it? Okay. Are we polite about breaking things? Okay, but we still get to break shit, right? Cool.
But yeah, McCready's. I mean, it's a cute nod back to Fallout 3.
Yeah.
But I didn't like Fallout 3, and I wasn't a big fan of McCready in Fallout 3 either. So yeah.
Hancock. I loved hanging out with Hancock. Hancock was cool. But yeah, Fallout 4 with good companions, bad central plot.
Yep. Yeah.
Like a really good idea for a central plot. They're just not terribly well executed.
I guess. Again, I think the kidnapping your kid is a good hook. I'm a little disappointed they decided to, girlfriend in the refrigerator, your spouse, either way.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been interesting had they, not been dead and also been out the wasteland looking for your kid, and you could run into them as a potential companion / depending on how you're doing things, possible antagonist.
Yep. I was thinking they would be they would be a great antagonist. Like they set themselves up opposite you, like in the faction system. Like whatever faction system you choose, they set up the diametrically opposed one,
Yeah.
and that could be really cool having them as having that come out as a oh, but I'm already seeing the difficulty in actually writing that because it's an entirely different story depending on which fucking faction you choose and their
Oh
motivations
yeah.
and the reason for the. Oh, yeah. Never mind. It's a neat idea, but it's just not feasible.
Probably not, but I think it's feasible. I'm certain it could be done. It'd just be a lot of fucking work.
That's what I mean by not feasible. It's a lot of work that most people won't see,
Fair.
and that can be disheartening, shall we say?
Mm, I don't know. At any rate, um, but yeah, that's I. It's frustrating because I really do like. There's a lot I like about the Fallout setting, and I wish it was better handled by Bethesda. But overall, I still enjoy Fallout 4 despite its glaring flaws.
Yeah, I mean, I really dig Fallout 4. I think I probably dig it a little bit more than you do.
Oh, you do.
Um,
You definitely do.
yeah, and it's just like, why wouldn't I enjoy a game that lets me like hop into power armor and stomp around and be cool?
Uh,
Like, I remember a while back, my friend Chris is also really into Fallout 4. It was discussing that this one encounter he had and how he was like being very careful and sneaking around, shooting. It was like, oh, was this the one in the quarry where they all got at the bottom? It's like, yeah, oh yeah, I just jumped down in the middle of them with a auto shotgun while wearing power armor and just laid waste to them. And that's why, and that's a fundamental difference between the two of us, Eric. Orc
yeah,
versus Eldar.
yeah. I think it might be a little bit too easy to get fusion cores long term in Fallout 4.
um, I would agree with you if they were craftable.
I
If you
by
could,
I mean I just don't use power armor that often because I like running around in not armor. It's just in not heavy
right?
armor. But I also
No,
I
it's
enjoy the
not
power
bad.
armor in it.
Yeah,
But by mid to late game, I'm never gonna run out of power or fusion cores. Like I'm running with
right.
like 50 of the damn things.
Yeah, I always spec'd for all the intelligence just so I use them even less,
Mm-hmm.
and I hoard the damn things. They're my precious. They're the ones that let my best armor do its thing.
Mm-hmm. But it makes it it really like the power armor really makes things a lot easier if you're using it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Things get a lot easier if you're wearing power armor. But fuck you, I'm wearing power
Fair.
armor.
I mean that's sort of part of the point of the power armor, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like they clearly put the fusion cores in as a way to limit the power armor, but there are enough of them in the game that it doesn't.
After a point, it's no longer a limit, right?
Yeah. So I don't know.
But yeah, I don't know. I just want to wear a robot suit. I want to wear robot pants, Peter.
Mm. I also think that the other thing I found disappointing about Fallout 4, and I mentioned this before, is how much less threatening Deathclaws are in it compared to the way they were in New Vegas,
Hmm.
where they are abjectly terrifying.
Yeah. Like even like with all the best gear and your tooled out like power armor or the big ass friggin' machine chain gun loaded with armor piercing bullets, they'll still eat you alive.
I mean, the way you handle them is you shoot them in the legs so they slow down, but
Yep.
or you set it for extreme range with an anti-material rifle and shoot them in the head. Uh, not that I've done that repeatedly. Or a railgun if you're an energy weapon character.
Right.
Not that I've done that also. But the fact that if they can get into melee with you, they're gonna fucking hurt.
Yes.
That said, dear God, the sentry bots are terrifying in 4. Holy fuck.
Yeah, the sentry bots sort of claim
Especially,
the mantle.
especially if you run into them earlier on in the game.
Oh, Jesus Christ. They are unbeatable early on. Well, not unbeatable, but holy shit.
Yeah, I ran into one pretty early in my current playthrough. I went through virtually all my stim packs fighting that thing.
Yeah. Honestly, thinking about it, I think one of the reasons why Deathclaws aren't as scary in 4 is because there's so much cover for them to move through.
Mm-hmm.
The terrain's a lot more broken. There's a lot more buildings and forests and whatnot for them to skulk through. And on many occasions, I've had one just drop on me out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, they just don't hit that hard, though, is the thing.
Yeah.
Darth Andrea in the chat mentions the ghouls being depowered in 4 also kind of sucks. Okay, here's the thing about ghouls in Fallout 4 and why I actually prefer them in Fallout 4 to Fallout 3, the feral ghouls specifically. They are less dangerous they are less dangerous entirely because they are not giant sacks of hit points that don't die.
Yeah.
The ghouls in Fallout 3 are bullet sponges. They are gigantic, especially the high level ones. They're gigantic bullet sponges that just take 4 fucking ever to die. Whereas you can actually break limbs on them in 4.
Yep.
Which makes them much less threatening. They're a lot faster in 4. And they're
a lot faster in 4, and they typically come in large numbers.
But they are much less threatening. I agree. Honestly, I would love to play a 3D Fallout game without hordes of feral ghouls. Like it would be nice to not like them not to be a major important thing and like major common enemy in a Fallout game, because they weren't in 1 and 2.
I think you're probably right.
I know I'm right.
Remember off the top of my head.
Feral ghouls weren't really a major thing until Fallout 3.
Okay.
The vast majority of the enemies in Fallout 1 and 2 were either humans or mutated animals.
Yep.
Or super mutants.
Or super mutants.
But the majority of the enemies that were, the vast majority of the enemies were either,
the thing is, you're in higher population areas in 3 and 4. Like you're in the DC area and fucking Greater Boston Metropolitan. Like there's going to be a lot more fucking ghouls there, simply because there's a much higher population when bombs dropped.
Yeah,
so that makes sense to me.
I don't know. I'm so sick of them at this point. Is the thing.
I understand that.
And I honestly, like, I don't need more fucking zombies. They're effectively zombies.
I mean, feral ghouls are more interesting than zombies by a significant amount.
Kinda.
But they are.
They're not really that different. They really aren't.
No. They're considerably faster. Than your typical zombie.
Okay, they're like the 28 days later infected.
Yes.
Which is, they're zombies. They're mindless.
I find them more interesting.
I find them more interesting
than what I'm trying to say is I find them more interesting than yet another lurching reanimated corpse that wants to eat me.
Fine.
Because there's a...
Sure, fine.
There's a greater pathos to there, because that used to be a person and they're not dead.
Yeah, but their brains are so rotted their brains are so destroyed.
Yeah, they're so far gone. It's not just a corpse. It's not just a reanimated corpse. Whatever. It's just a reanimated corpse. Do whatever the fuck you want with it. A ghoul was a person and still kinda sorta is. Just afflicted by severe amounts of damage.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, that's purely a conceptual thing, but
yeah, I miss the days of I miss the days where I don't know. It's just one of those things. I'd like to see a change.
Sure.
I mean, that's sort of the idea they had, sort of like from what I've seen in '76 of the Scourge, of not Scourge, the Scorched, but the Scorched just come across as, more intelligent ghouls, feral ghouls with spiky bits sticking out of them that can use guns.
Mm.
I mean, they're not, they're different, but um, I don't know.
I mean, being able to use guns is a significant difference, but
They're mechanically
yeah.
very different. I mean, mechanically they're basically just normal ghouls. Flavor wise, they're different.
Okay.
But you're fighting a normal ghoul in Fallout. Like one of the things I do like about Fallout 4 is running into like when the fight when you're fighting the Triggermen.
Mm.
Like with the Triggermen, there are a bunch of Triggermen who are ghouls.
Yep.
Um,
They're sitting there having I love just like one of the big advantages of sneaking around in Fallout games in general is like hearing enemies converse with one another.
oh yeah, absolutely. It's one of my favorite things about it.
Like that
it
that
sort of
is that is the reason why I sneak at all in Fallout games to listen to eavesdrop on those conversations.
oh, God, it sometimes reminds me of one of my favorite old school sort of shooter games was No One Lives Forever,
Mm.
which is this old, which is God, when did that game come out? Hang on, let me look this up. Uh, no One Lives Forever came out in 2000.
Okay.
It's first-person shooter. You're playing Kate Archer, who is a British super spy, Scottish. She's actually Scottish. Um, you're a super spy.
Cool.
It's paying homage to the '60s spy movies. Does it fucking brilliantly. So it's a shooter slash stealth game because you're a spy. And the
Cool.
bits where you get to over like listen to like eavesdrop on the enemy goons talking, and it's a comedy fucking gold, man. Oh my god, that game is great. If I could find if like last time I tried streaming it, it didn't work well. The cutscenes would break, and it would be hard to stream them. It was really unfortunate because
That's a shame.
oh, it's so good. It is such a good game, and it's funny. And Kate's a fantastic character. And it's and again like she's got a like it's the '60s, so and it's a female protagonist in a spy movie, so she's getting a lot of shit from people because she's a woman.
She's a woman, right?
And she's constantly underestimated by not just by the enemy, but by her own agency. Um, but it's done well, and she's a badass. She's great. And the woman who voices her is fantastic. The graphics are a little dated.
Well, it's from 2000. I'm
Yeah.
not surprised.
Gavin says, so it's Peggy Carter, kinda, except she's Scottish. I mean, she's female James Bond,
So Lana Kane from Archer.
kinda.
I mean, Lana's considerably after 2000, so
Yeah. But it's very clearly yeah. But yeah, I really really enjoyed the game. Unfortunately, as I said, it does not run well currently on modern machines.
that's a shame. That does seem to be a risk with a lot of older media, just losing a bunch of stuff that has been transferred over just because no one's thought to.
And it's kind of in like rights hell at the moment, from what I understand, which is why it's not being
Corporate fuckery. Gotcha.
Well, it's not just corporate fuckery. Like, no one's entirely sure who owns all the licensing to parts of it. Like, parts of it is just like literally just like no one's entirely sure who actually has it. That's parts of
Right.
it. They're like, um, but yeah, It's a good game, but that is it. That the reason I thought of is just the whole eavesdropping conversations, because some of them are just Sometime, Eric, I think a lot of them have been recorded and uploaded to YouTube. You should check it out if you can find them.
All right.
Some of them are funny. I mean, real funny. But yeah, no, it's got a lot of the bits, where you have to choose what gear you're bringing on a mission, and things to distract people with, and there are elements that I think, I think actually some of the stealth elements that I think actually influence the Hitman games.
Hmm.
Speaking of which, Hitman, that's another game where there's a lot of fun opportunities to eavesdrop on people. I've only played one of the Hitman games, but I really liked it. Blood Money is a really good game, and I do recommend it.
I'm just not big into
stealth games.
No,
I get it. It is not for everyone.
Like, I'm playing a stealth game, and my first instinct is charge in there, shoot everything, paint the walls with blood. Mission failed. How did I? What? But you weren't supposed to be detected. But I killed all the witnesses.
Yeah, but there was a camera over there, Eric. Or one
people look at us. Cameras.
Or one of the people you didn't kill immediately actually got to radioed it in before you killed him.
Yeah, but now he's dead, and therefore you can't. I can deny it, but I wasn't there. You're covered with blood. This is strawberry jam.
Yeah, no, Eric. Not your sort of game. I get it.
You're holding an axe, and why would I use an axe when I can shoot people? They were clearly killed by an axe. That's ridiculous. Anything could have made that mark.
You're very bad at this sort of thing, aren't you, Eric?
Strawberry jam.
Yeah, no. Oh my god. So yeah, I'm currently looking back through old emails, see if I can find questions we can go back to. Just in case because I can feel we're beginning to ramble, so I'm gonna see if there's anything.
Yeah, we are definitely beginning to ramble.
But yeah, I can't go through this in detail right now without leaving large quantities of dead air.
Right.
And I don't want to do that. So yeah, let's see what else should we talk about.
So,
let me think. Other game stuff.
Just as a brief aside, we got a magazine about vans because we have a van that we use deliveries for, and it has stuff for various contractor stuff you can put in the van. And all I can think was, how is there not one article in here about kick-ass sweet Frank Frazetta art you could have spray painted on your van? You have a van, why is it not covered in kick-ass Frank Frazetta homages? Why even own a van at that point?
I guess, yeah, all right. I guess we could tackle these two questions from Product DM that he gave me a date to look at, so in the chat.
Cool.
So, all right, the questions. Question 1. Recently came with a design for an archetype. Lizard folk specific monk archetype that focuses on using their natural weapons, is augmented not by ki, but by binding enchantments to their battle scars through alchemical dyes and shamanistic rituals. So the idea popped into my head while I was on a Grognards binge, and I'm fairly certain it was heavily influenced by Eric's segments. I thought if you could ask if you could tell me what you thought of the concept. Sounds cool. I mean,
I actually really like the idea. It sort of makes me think of some of the tattoo magic stuff, like that you'll find in other settings, and but doing it with ritual scarification and alchemical dyes, and that's really cool. I really like the idea.
I like the flavor a lot, honestly.
Yeah. Plus, it's a lizard man, so therefore at least 10% cooler.
Yeah, I could see adapting that to some other species.
But I particularly like the idea of doing it with the lizard man because there's stuff that they can. They have this whole extra limb sticking off their asses that they can use it. That allows them to...
No, I agree.
Yeah.
No, the only reason I mentioned other races, I was thinking specifically of other monstrous races. I think it would work fairly well with gnolls.
Yeah. Yeah, because they also have the whole claws and chompy bits.
Yeah. I actually in fourth edition played a Null Monk for a while. That was a lot of fun.
That is pretty cool.
Because you have the whole sort of tension between the monastic discipline that he's learned because he's taken found young, taken in by a monastery, and he's got this sort of the contrasting sort of the dichotomy between his bestial animalistic nature as a gnoll and the discipline that's been hammered into him for his entire life at the monastery.
Probably literally.
At times, probably yes. I really liked that character, but yeah, this I like the idea.
I always thought gnolls were a really cool race. Also,
they are.
Like
They're
I
neat.
really like gnolls.
Yeah, that's part
Kind
of
of
the reason.
surprised I've never.
When I saw there was a no, there was an option to play. They came up with an option to play for as a playable race for fourth ed. I immediately wanted to try to play one. And they have Dex as a stat bonus. So I was like, you know what, rock on. I'm going with this.
Man, now I really want to play a gnoll pit fighter with a that specializes in spiked chains.
That'd be quite good actually.
Like it just conceptually, like this giant hyena man, like whipping chains around him.
Absolutely.
It's just a cool idea.
But yeah, I like the idea. I think the concept's great. In terms of executing it, like it would depend entirely on what system you're doing it in.
Yeah.
Like if there is a monk archetype that mechanically you can basically steal most of the mechanics from, even if they are technically their abilities are key based, just reflavoring them to being due to the scarification and the inlaid alchemical tattoos and such, I think would work. You wouldn't have to change it much mechanically. You just have to change the flavor.
Yeah, you could also do that just as the magic items they're allowed to use.
Yeah,
assuming
absolutely.
It's an item thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Again, depends entirely on the game.
Yeah.
And some systems you really wouldn't have to do. It's But yeah, I dig that. I really dig that concept.
It's a really cool idea. It is something I would seriously consider playing.
Yep, I like that one. The second one was recently some of his players have expressed an interest in a combination fantasy survival and base building campaign since once their current campaign wraps up. Thankfully, it's a little while out from that. That was back in September, so maybe. By that I mean a campaign in a medieval fantasy setting that has heavy survival elements that is preferably centered around whatever they end up setting up as their home base. And he mentions something how to work those two together. Yeah,
That's a tough one, honestly. Simply because I don't know what kind of... Here's the thing. With my Monday crew, we always end up at like doing a base building exercise. Like whether it's the spaceship or the hideout we have in the Shadowrun game, or the city we've based ourselves in for a fantasy game. Like we always end up like fortifying and setting up a base of some sort.
Right.
Like it's kind of second nature.
Right. That makes sense.
So yeah, that's kind of I do people not do this in games?
Yeah. A lot of games I've not done it in.
Like
it depends on the group.
Yeah, like Feng Shui is the only one that I haven't really ever done that in. It's because it's kind of contrary to the whole idea of Feng Shui.
And a lot of the D&D stuff I've run, you guys haven't done much base building because you've been wandering around and doing.
That's true. We've been tooling around a little too much. Yeah.
Like if you're doing a sort of a wandering adventuring party that don't have a fixed base of operations, that's not going to come up.
Yeah.
If you do have a fixed base of operations, it might. Depends on what your fixed base of operations is. Whether you have the, it varies by campaign type. But as terms of advice, mechanically, like whatever system you're running will probably have, costs and, rules and effects for, buying stuff to improve their base and such. Buying the materials and the crafting skills, what's crafting skills they need, etc. for that.
Yeah, who they
And
have to hire,
knowing
that kind of deal.
what stuff they what stuff they need to survive. Most fantasy RPGs do have the classic like classic D&D has always had price for food in large quantities. So I like the first ed player's handbook for first ed Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Had in the equipment list like barrels of pickled fish and shit like that, or
Yep,
salted cod or what have you. Um,
caramel cod.
Probably not caramel cod.
Old joke.
I know. I'm just saying. So like you as the game master, you have to make sure you have prices for rations that they the stuff they need to survive, and ways make sure you're prepared for them going out to acquire stuff to stock their base and such, and things to upgrade their base. And so I think knowing the crafting system, if there's a crafting system in the game, knowing that in and out's going to be a must.
Yes.
If this
be prepared to, because players be players. There's going to be times they're going to want to do something that is not covered in the rules. So
that is a given, and
be prepared for that. And the trick is just to be as consistent as you can.
Yep.
But also firm. Like,
Yep.
don't let them run over you.
Yeah.
Consistent and firm.
But be willing to adapt to situation. Like you have to be firm, but like once you've made a decision, you stick by it.
Yeah.
As a general rule of thumb, unless it really ends up like you realize it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Or if it ends up like you play for a while, you're like, yeah, that was a terrible idea. Okay, guys, this has been a terrible idea. It's unbalanced the game in X way. I'm going to change it.
Yeah.
In this way. As always, communication is crucial. I mean, yeah, I think it's I wish I could give you better advice on it, but like it's gonna depend on your group, and it's gonna depend on the players, and it's gonna depend on the system as always. Like different systems will handle that differently, or they might not be inherently be designed to handle that, and you'll have to come up with ways to make it handle it.
Well, a big trick here is make sure you're using a system where that can handle it.
That's ideally yes.
Like D&D should be able to handle that fairly easily.
Oh, D&D would handle it fine. Most systems I know would.
Yeah, there are a couple out there where such things get hand waved because it's sort of like, yeah, that's all like nuts and bolts minutia that this system isn't about. Like feng shui isn't going to sweat that stuff.
Yeah, and you wouldn't want to sweat that in a feng shui. Like this is not something you would do in a feng shui game, really.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking like there are systems out there where a lot of that back end stuff is hand waved.
Yeah,
which I enjoy for most of the time.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I mean, again, it also will depend on how interested your players are in keeping track of the nuts and bolts too.
Yeah.
I have players. Several of my players in my Thursday crew, are they actually enjoy tracking. They actually enjoy keeping track of their supplies and what they're going to need, and etc. They don't mind the bookkeeping. Is long short of it.
Yeah,
and some people don't mind the bookkeeping. Some people loathe the bookkeeping. Not that
I am not a big fan of bookkeeping of that sort.
Yeah,
honestly,
I was going to say I am totally not on doing a podcast right now with one of them who does not enjoy bookkeeping.
I appreciate when people want to do that and they're handling it, and it's a big part of the game that they're dealing with. Don't make me deal with it.
Yeah, I'm actually in the same boat. I'm good at the bookkeeping. I just don't really enjoy doing it. But yeah, I do think it's something that For some groups, they're going to want to be it's going to be more bookkeeping heavy for them because that's what they like.
Yep.
And for some groups, they don't like heavy bookkeeping, but they want to handle like I think bookkeeping is going to be part of it no matter what if you're going for survival heavy campaign because that's actually tracking your supplies is actually sort of a thing in that sort of a game.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a like for me and Eric it would end up being a necessary evil.
Yes.
One preferably handled by someone else in the group.
Chris, Leland, Matt, you guys do this. I'm going to go murder something.
Yeah. One other thing I did want to touch on actually before we wrap up, that I just remembered while we're talking about this. Hang on, see if I can find it. Where is it? Hang on. That's not here. Where is it? There was a. Here we go. Found it. There we go. So, last night, one of our mutual friends and guy we've gamed with on multiple occasions, Michael Skitchiano, Skitch, posted actually an interesting little sort of question on Twitter, relating to D&D and gaming in general. He's basically sort of a if you're I want to touch about this because I like this conceptually, and I actually had a long sort of series of replies on Twitter to it. Let's say you're DMing a session, you have a party of 4 players, all roll for stealth. Everyone passes your DC of the check except for one player, say a cleric, who rolled a really low result. How would you resolve the check? And he had a little poll set up for 4 possible options. Since 3/4 of the group passed, the group succeeds. One person failed, therefore the group failed. The cleric fails separately, and then the 4th choice was, some other result. It got me sort of thinking about that, and it sort of, for me, it sort of spirals into how do you handle group checks in RPGs in general. But I thought it was an interesting little question, sort of, what do you think? I wanted to ask you what you think, actually.
What I would do, this seems like a moment for comedic badassery, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So, sneak. The cleric kicks over a can, which hits a bookshelf, which makes it fall over because it was ill-balanced and like a big cacophony.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else made their checks so they can immediately hide when the guards come. And then they get an ambush round.
Sure. And that's one way to handle it.
That's how I would do it.
That is... here's the thing. And my general inclination for most situations would be to handle it, especially if I'm structuring it as sort of a group challenge, is, the party is sneaking somewhere. My gut instinct is since 3/4 of the group passed, the group succeeded. Like someone in the group, if I want things to move on at a reasonable pace, which is most of the time, I basically say, someone in the cleric screws up, but like someone else in the party, covers for them somehow, as long as it's somewhat reasonably feasible that they could. But that's entirely context sensitive for me. It depends on where are they sneaking. How many guards are around, or how many people that could be alerted by someone screwing up are around? Why are they sneaking up? How tense a situation do you want this to be? Is it feasible that someone can help cover for the person who failed? Etc. It's a host of different possibilities that which I think each possibility, like, there are situations where one person screwing up, if there's means that the rest of the group really can't cover for them and really can't take advantage of the fact that they rolled well. Like, there are situations where that's not feasible.
Yeah.
But there are situations where, like, exactly what you described is perfect sense. There are situations where they could cover for the guy, and the thing I like about it is thinking about it that sort of way means that you can sort of take that answer to how you'd handle the situation and apply it to other group skill checks.
Yep.
Like, you've got the same group of 4 people who are meeting their potential patron for the first time and have to talk to them, and it's a sort of a group diplomacy check, and the barbarian fails. How do you handle that? You could have someone in the party cover for the barbarian. So yeah, he's just don't sir, don't sir. It's just it's he's actually a good guy. He's just from a part of the world where they don't observe the diplomatic niceties most of the time. He doesn't mean anything by it, sir, and have to make another diplomacy check after that to try to cover for them. Or the patron could sort of say, okay, yeah, the rest of you guys are fine, but I don't like this guy, which would be the one guy failing, or it's one failure is a failure of the group because wow, these people are willing to stick up for this asshole, just hang around this asshole. Why the fuck would I trust them? Etc.
Yeah, like who the company you keep reflects upon you as a person.
Right.
I do not wish to associate with you, type of deal.
Yep, these are all potential ways to handle it, and it's again, context is king here. But I think it's
although really again that's a gold mine for comedy there.
Oh God, absolutely.
The patron walks on. Oh, you're an ugly motherfucker, aren't you? That's a compliment in his culture. You should know it.
Oh, that reminds me of there's a comedian, Reginald Hunter. Have you heard of this guy?
No.
Oh, God.
I may have, but it's not ringing a bell.
Hang on. There's a great let me see if I can find this here. But yeah, there's a wonderful bit about where he's in Ireland doing a show in Ireland and steps outside having a cigarette and a couple of his friends around, and this drunk Irish dude walks up to him and basically says, I forget exactly how he phrased it, but he's
oh, you're a mean-looking cunt. I've seen this clip. Yes. It's hilarious.
And his friends are like getting a little angry about it. He's like, no, it's okay. I speak Irish. What he means is that wow, you look like an interesting guy. I'd like to have a conversation with. And so I said back to him, what's it to you drunk patty bastard? And he goes, hey! He's my manager now. It's a really good routine, and Reginald's delivery is great. But that's the sort of situation that you can spin in that kind of situation. Like where someone fails their check in that way. It's like, yeah, oh, no, you don't understand. This is just him being friendly in his own way, sir. Don't.
It's like he's Irish. That's a compliment. What he's saying is he looks like you look like a robust individual and worthy of respect.
So yeah,
and if it failed badly enough, the barbarian response, no, it wasn't.
It's when you give the barbarian an intelligence check to see if he realize what's going on, and help take advantage of the guy covering for him. Oh yeah, totally. That's totally what it. Yes. But yeah,
that reminds me for the Star Wars game with a similar situation. My droids. I'm playing Invader Zim if he was a droid.
Oh lordy.
And make some presence checks. My droid has a presence of 1, so I completely fail it to meet this guy, and I end up saying something along the lines of like, "Stop excreting in my area, in my general presence. You're getting corrosives all over me." Filthy meat creature. What is wrong with your droid? That's not my droid. What do you mean that's not your? You should get it mind wiped. That's not my droid. It's broken. What's it doing here? It's broken. And it worked.
Oh God. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of ways that sort of thing could be spun in different ways. I thought it was a really interesting question that Skitch brought up, and it got me thinking about that sort of stuff, which I always appreciate. Because I don't think I actually sit down and plan that sort of shit out when I'm GMing.
Yeah.
But like that, like sort of describing it that way is sort of what's going on in the back of my head when I'm doing it, even if I'm not really consciously thinking about it. Um, because I will handle it differently depending on the situation, and also on the players, because some groups will want to handle it differently. Also, there are
Yes.
players who, like, there are times when, like, especially if someone's been rolling poorly for a while, where I'm not like, I don't want the player to feel like they're just like their dice are just
They're
complete.
dragging everybody else
They're
down.
dragging
Right.
everyone else down. So I'll be nicer about it, because like, I don't want, like, it's, or if it's like, I just don't want them to feel like it's, like everything's just going horribly and it's their fault. That feels bad over time.
Yeah.
Or honestly, there are times where I just want to, like, yeah, like, it would make sense for, like, the guards, like, that the party really couldn't cover them. The guards should come in and blah blah, and we might lead to another combat encounter. I don't have time for that right now. Fuck it. Someone covers
Yeah.
for him somehow. Or, I will say, okay, the clerics made a noise. Do any of you have an idea how to cover for that? And give them another roll to possibly have them come up with, like, an explanation for how they cover for it, and give them another roll. Give someone else the party a roll to cover for it.
Oh, who is there? No one. Fuck. Oh, all right then. I can't believe that worked. Again, another comedic way to handle it.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, it's, as I said, it does vary by game, obviously, but it also depends entirely on the campaign setting too. Like,
Yeah.
there are games where that won't make any goddamn sense. Anywho, I just thought it was an interesting question.
It's a neat idea. Yeah, and my inclination is to go with something that has consequence, but is comedic and doesn't punish everyone. At the same time, yeah, I could totally see hand waving it because it's getting towards the end of the night, or you've got this really cool encounter that you just want them to fucking get to, and they've been fucking up all night.
I've never had that happen, Eric.
No, that never happens to any GM ever.
Happens to basically every GM ever. But yeah, no, it could totally do a really cool encounter too.
Yeah.
Um,
There are lots of ways to segue that, but I will not blame any GM that just wants to hand wave it, because god damn it, they spent 2 hours bickering over what color potions to buy, and they're just now getting to my kick-ass set piece thing that I spent all week working on, and now they got to do this. Fuck it, it's fine. No, they cover for you. The guards were dead at the time.
They're on the moon.
With Steve.
If you don't know what that's a reference to, you have not watched enough Eddie Izzard. All right, I think that'll probably do it for tonight, though. Thank you everybody for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. We spent most of the show talking about Fallout, actually, which we've done before.
Yes,
and I think we probably said some of the things we said during that before, but thank you, everybody. As I said, thank you for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed everything. We try to save the time at the end of each episode for viewer questions. If you've got questions for us, please do send them to us. Our email address is surlygrognards@yahoo.com, surlygrognards@yahoo.com, or you can post them in the comment section on YouTube. I record every episode that I stream when I record it when I'm streaming it live on Twitch, twitch.tv/mechagm. We record most Monday nights at 7 p.m., roughly 7 p.m. Eastern. And I upload the recording to YouTube usually the following day. But if you're listening on YouTube, thank you for listening, and feel free to post stuff in the comments there. I tweet out when the show's going to go live. My Twitter handle is @mechagm, so if you want to hit me up there, feel free. If you got show topic suggestions, dear God, we love show topic suggestions. Please send them to us.
Yeah. Give us those. Give those all the time, forever.
Same email address, or what have you. If you got constructive feedback for us, ways we can make the show better, we love that shit. Please send it to us. That's basically it, really. Yeah, that's going to do it for tonight, though, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As to the next episode, my schedule is real wonky for the next few weeks because I am moving at the end of the month. So my schedule is going to be kind of wonky. It's possible that It is assuming that I'm able to do to. I'm free Saturday night to finish watching the current anime we're doing for 3 Minute in Anime. I will try to make time on next Tuesday to record that. But that will likely be the last podcast for a couple of weeks because, as I said, I'm moving at the end of the month, and it's gonna take me time to get recombobulated after the move.
Yeah, and it's the holidays. Things get wonky for everyone.
Yep.
So,
anyways,
with additional wonkies.
So that's going to do it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys had fun, and we will see you guys next time. Till we see you next, keep on gaming, everybody.
Bye, humans.